Hey friends, Ash here with Gents. Hope you're doing really well. Today we're going to be talking about some club fragrances. More specifically, 10 of the most notorious attention-grabbing club fragrances known to man. So these are fragrances that are really well known for commanding attention when you walk in a room or walk through a group of people. Usually they're really loud, big projection, very sweet. They're not the greatest fragrances for more subtle situations or formal situations. You should probably go something else in times like that. But screw that. It's time to go to the club. Let's check these out. And in case anybody out there is wondering, yeah, this is a perfect shirt to wear to a club. I think it would look pretty cool. First up, the gold bar itself, Paco Rabanne 1 million. You knew it was going to be in this list, so let's just get it out of the way. And what I really want to know is, how long until Paco Rabanne comes out with 1 billion? Where's that trillion? Trillion. As I mentioned, a lot of these are going to be really sweet and loud. Actually, I'm looking at them. I think they're all actually sweet and loud. But this one is really one of the fragrances that just set the whole club fragrance thing into high gear when this came out. It's really well known for having a cinnamon note along with amber and leather and actually rose, believe it or not. I mean, most people that smell this probably wouldn't be like, oh, what an exquisite rose, but yeah, it's a note in here. This one does get hated on because of the bottle, frankly. You know, it looks pretty tacky. Looks like a young guy's type of scent, but for the most part, that's what it is. So I guess they nailed that, really. It's a huge compliment puller. Still to this day, fantastic attention grabber. And believe it or not, it is still Paco Rabanne's best-selling fragrance. At least as of this video, it is. Basically, if you've ever been to a club, you smelled this at some point. 1 million. Let's go from there to probably the second most well-known club fragrance nowadays. Eros from Versace. This is the Eau de Toilette. Mint, apple, tonka, and vanilla are some of the notes in this fragrance. The mint here does not smell like a realistic mint. It does not smell like you went out to your garden and got yourself a spearmint leaf and ground it up and, mint. No. The mint here is just really sweet. Yeah, it's just a synthetically sweet mint, but it smells really nice and is super attractive to the vast majority of people. You've also got a little green apple in there, giving you a touch of fruit off the top as it dries down. Warm tonka, ambroxan, and vanilla wrap this one up. Keep it moving with Ultramall from Jean Paul Gaultier. This one, unfortunately, not as easy to find at discounters as 1 million or Versace Eros. Those two are always in stock, period. You go to FragranceNet, you go to FragranceX, whatever, doesn't matter when, 1 million Eros will be in stock. This one, not so much. This one is one of those fragrances that is just always flip-flopping on and off at discounters. It's there, it's gone, it's there, it's gone, it's there, it's gone. Man, come on, get with it. It's got pear, cinnamon, vanilla, and lavender are some of the notes in the fragrance, so you get a different sort of fruity opening here with the pear. Not something you see all that often, but ultimately, it's still following the same DNA here, which is giving you warm, spicy, sexy notes that lead into a sweet vanilla or tonka dry down. That is one of the most common things that you're going to see repeated throughout this list. Yes, there are some outliers, but that seems to be the de facto go-to kind of club DNA for fragrances. And this one pulls it off fantastically. And it does have a good amount of versatility as well. Some of these fragrances, like 1 million, they kind of get pigeonholed into being, just for clubbing or just for winter. But this one has a lot more versatility than you would expect. Just as long as you don't go overboard with the sprays and choke out every living person near you. If you do that, versatility uses to the club and you're gonna be the annoying douche bro. But if that's what you're going for, crush it. Let's go to this one next, another tacky bottle. Invictus from Paco Rabanne. Yeah, my good buddy Invictus, my favorite fragrance of all time. I love you, Invictus. I'm just playing. I hate you a lot. So, in case you haven't been around for very long on this channel, there are so many different fragrances on the market now that kind of smell like Invictus. Maybe like an offshoot of Invictus, or like, Invictus couldn't keep its pants up and had children in every other fragrance house on earth. basically. I think at this point, there are less fragrance houses that don't have something that smells kind of like Invictus than there are that do. C notes, grapefruit, bay leaf, and ambergris are some of the notes in this fragrance. And this one is just really youthful and sweet and fresh at the same time. It is an absolutely enormous positive attention-pulling fragrance, though it does lean quite youthful. Not that many fragrances here lean mature or anything like that. So Invictus would be a go-to fragrance if you want something that retains a lot of the typical club type DNA, but goes about it a little fresher and a little more aquatic. Invictus. And just for the heck of it, next up, Azzaro Wanted. And guess what? This is Azzaro's Invictus smelling fragrance. I kind of had to do that. You know, if I'm going to talk about how much Invictus stuff is out there, I've got to include at least one other fragrance that is Invictus-like. Now, if you look at the note breakdown here for Azzaro Wanted, it doesn't look that similar to Invictus. So if you'd never smelled the two fragrances, you would look at the notes for each fragrance and be like, oh, those look pretty different. I'm quite certain those would not smell all that similar. And you would be wrong. It's got lemon, ginger, apple, tonka, and amberwood as some of the notes in the fragrance. And it really truly is just Azzaro's twist and tweaked version of Invictus. Wanted to me doesn't come across quite as bubblegummy as Invictus. I mean, yeah, it's got that in there, but not quite as much, and it's a little bit fresher. And if you came up to me and you said, hey, do you want to wear Azzaro Wanted in this totally sick, not tacky at all bottle that looks like a gun cylinder, or this totally sick, not tacky at all bottle that looks like a trophy that holds Invictus, would you rather wear this or this? I'm taking the gun, baby. Next up, we're gonna go with this bad boy right here, code Profumo. And you could just as easily put the original code in here, or if you wanted to, you could even put code Absolute. But I think for today's day and age, Profumo, that's the one to go with. At least if we're talking in a club type situation. You know, follow me here. Overall, I actually like Absolute more as a fragrance, but Profumo has more projection, more longevity, it's louder, it's more aggressive, so that means it's going to assault the noses of the people around you and make them smell you. That's big brain. Tonka, amber leather, and cardamom, some of the notes in this fragrance. Actually makes a pretty good date night scent also, but if you're gonna wear it to a date, I would say don't spray it on as heavily as if you're going to the club. When you first spray this on, it smells awesome. That's my favorite part. It's sparkling, effervescent, sweet, has kind of a root beer or soda vibe to it. It smells awesome. Let's keep it rolling with Mont Blanc Legend, also known as Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, but I don't want to spend Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce money, please. This one has lavender, tonka, red apple, and pineapple as some of the notes in the fragrance, and from discounters you can usually find this for about $30 or so. Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce, even though it's been out since the beginning of time, it feels like mainly just because that scent is ingrained into my mind, because every time I went to the mall, that was all I could smell. I swear, Abercrombie & Fitch, they pump Fierce into the entire mall. Like, if they have a store there, you cannot escape it. So all that being said, Fierce, it's still expensive. At discounters in the US, $70, $80, all the time. Even though it's a mall fragrance, it is not cheap. It's got that attention-grabbing feel. People are gonna recognize that stuff. They're gonna smell it and be like, oh, it smells nice. What is that? Oh, it's that guy. If you like Fierce, you want something like that, just get this. It costs way less. You can just absolutely drown yourself in this fragrance and it won't matter because you can just buy another bottle. You can buy like 2 or 3 bottles of this for the cost of 1 of Abercrombie & Fitch Fierce. And as far as the difference in quality, there's really not much of one at all. Let's go with a third Paco Rabanne here. Paco Rabanne, you're like the king of club fragrances. I bestowed this crown upon you, king of club fragrances. Black XS. This bottle I kind of struggle with. Sometimes I look at it and I think, that's kind of cool. Other times I look at it and I think, that looks terrible. But it doesn't matter because it doesn't look like this anymore. It looks like this. So it doesn't matter. Praline, cinnamon, rosewood, lemon. Some of the notes in this fragrance right here. This came out before 1 million, but it did pretty much what 1 million does, which is it's sweet, it's spicy, it's warm, it's a good performer, It's a great night out fragrance. It does all those things, and it actually shares a number of notes with 1 million. And yet this was only out for a little while before 1 million came along and just kind of slapped it in the back of the head and was like, Black Excess, get out of here. This is my racket now. Clubs, that's my thing. Black Excess, blah, get out of here. So Black Excess kind of just skedaddled, you know, beat town, got out of there, and 1 million took its place in the Paco Rabanne hierarchy. It still is being made though, like I said, they changed the bottle up, they're still manufacturing it, you can still pick it up. So Black XS is one of those fragrances that's kind of like, if you know, you know. When it came out, it was really popular. Out at the club, out at bars, night out type fragrance, like I said before, big compliment puller, but it got overshadowed so fast people forgot about it. Still smells really good though. Black XS, solid stuff. All right, let's go with the Herrera 212 VIP Men. And this bottle is just a monstrosity. Big 200 milliliter Godzilla bottle. Now, if you look on Fragrantica, they have this as having vodka and gin as two of the notes, right? As if one liquor is not enough. They want to make sure that you understand this is a party fragrance, and how better to understand the party level of a fragrance than the number of liquors in it. Sure, there's also lime and amber and passion fruit, who cares? It's all about the gin and vodka here, right? The only thing that could make this more of a clubbing or night out fragrance is if it had gin, vodka, and maybe tequila, rum, whiskey, and cognac, and maybe a beer note too. And then it would be called 212 Stomach Pump for Men. Yeah, it'd sell like crazy. And I think those alcohol notes in here, they actually make sense. Because when you first spray this on, that's what it smells like, alcohol. But once you let it dry down, that dissipates, and then it smells a lot better, and it starts to feed into that clubbing night out kind of style that we've been talking about, with that sweetness and that warmth. You do have more of an interesting fruity opening here, because it has passion fruit and lime. You don't see those very often. The lime makes sense. Again, you know, you can put a little lime wedge in a lot of different adult beverages. For a while, the 212 line was actually pretty decently hyped, but over the years, that's just died off. I mean, people don't really get hyped for 212 fragrances that much anymore. 212 VIP, one of the last big hurrahs, one of their great night out fragrances, and still a solid choice. We have reached the finale, and it's quite a finale. Let me tell you, this is the fragrance to end all fragrances, quite possibly. The greatest of all time? No, it's definitely not, actually. But I figured I'd do some fake hype anyway. So the last one, Club de Nuit Intense Man from Armouf. Also known as CDNIM, in case you don't want to write it all out. Lemon, pineapple, birch, blackcurrant, and musk, Club de Nuit Intense Man is an extremely unique fragrance, the likes of which the fragrance world has never seen, experienced, or known. Upon its release, it was an immediate cataclysmic explosion of fervor and hype, where everyone had to get their hands on this magnificent fragrance. Or, in actuality, it's just a clone of Creed's Invictus. That could also be what this is. So yeah, Club de Nuit Intense Man, it's the most popular Creed Invictus clone that exists, basically. It's really inexpensive, it performs like a monster, it projects, it fills people's noses and lungs and brains and sinuses and everything with the scent of Club de Nuit Intense Man if they get near you, people like that. The opening is harsh, you know, it's got a lemon kind of cleaner smell, yeah, like a lemon spray. Not very good. But as it dries down, it gets a lot better. And people enjoy it for that. Yeah, the opening is harsh. You just wait it out. You know, you spray it on and you're like, hold up, don't smell me yet. Hold up. And then 5-10 minutes later, okay, you can smell. It's a huge compliment puller. As much as people like to bust on this fragrance and make fun of it, it is a massive compliment puller for the cost. It is a fantastic buy. It will kill it on nights out. It's a solid scent. It's just not the most expensive smelling thing ever. It's pretty synthetic, but the average person, man, they dig it. So there we go. Club de Nuit Intense Man. It's got club in the name. Of course it's a great club fragrance. That's actually not true. There are fragrances with club in the name that are terrible club fragrances, and just in general fragrances. Yeah. All right, it's gonna do it for me. Thanks for hanging out with me today. Thanks for all your support. Stay safe out there. See you tomorrow with another fragrance video. See you guys.